Let's give you another perspective then from the Speaker of the Council, that's Councillor Vasco da Gama, who joins me now for a conversation. Councillor da Gama, the meeting yesterday managed to elect the chair of chairs, being Colleen Makubele of COPE, but other than that, it was downhill from there. You had many breaks and recesses that had to be taken, 30-minute recess from time to time. Much time was wasted, and it seems we didn't get anywhere in terms of the Section 79 committees being elected. What on earth is going on in the city of Joburg, Speaker?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners. I hope that the MEC is still listening, and I hope that we can work well in future together to overcome some of the issues. And I hope that my letter to him was good enough explanation so that he can understand what the issues were that we were battling with on the 13th of January. Yesterday's meeting, yes, as you correctly prescribed, was not as fruitful as I would have liked to see it. And obviously, you know, there was filibustering going on throughout the day, you know, asking for breaks and wanting to caucus for half an hour, which we gladly gave so that we can get to conclusions and that the caucuses, in fact, can agree, elect the chairpersons so that we can start with the earnest work that the city needs to do on service delivery. Yes, we have elected the chair of chairs, which was confirmed in council, but what followed after that was a withdrawal by the ANC, the EFF, and the minorities, which then withdrew their names, and the only names that were left on the list was the names provided by the coalition, which actually covers all 17 portfolios, and then after that we expected that those would then be confirmed after the names have been read out and the nominations being accepted. But unfortunately that didn't happen because the ANC then walked out, followed by the minorities. And when we counted, there was still 3 people left from Gama, 2 from the EFF, and obviously the coalition. At the point of 31, the IFP was gone at that time, which basically left us with 136 people. And after Gama left and the EFF left, 131, which we were then forced to close council and deal with the nomination process for those Section 79s on the meeting of the 27th of January, which is next week.
The MEC that I just spoke to now is sort of taking a measured approach, at least that's what he says to me, that he's taking a measured approach, doesn't want to be seen to be interfering. He's received your letter and also received the complaint from the ANC. His sense is that this, the difference between the various parties is over what he describes as trivial issues. Many South Africans, not knowing the nitty-gritty of what's going on politically between the various political parties, will be asking themselves, why can't these people resolve this issue once and for all? Either you will vote by secret ballot or you vote by, a show of hands. What's so difficult about resolving this issue so that we can make progress with setting up these committees, Speaker?
I don't think, and the MEC prescribes these issues as trivial. Yes, he is correct. They are trivial issues. And I would have thought that, political parties having leaders and having whips within those political parties would be able to resolve those issues that really does not belong there. All councillors have the rule books. And I correctly prescribed the rules set down for elections for chairpersons correctly to the MEC, and if he reads through that, he should know that it's right. So there is actually nothing that prevents these political parties to take the correct decisions in council. And unfortunately, not traditions, but rules that applied for the past 20 years now all of a sudden must be changed for political parties that feel that they must waste the time of council.
So what happens now, Speaker? Because part of the concern was that from the calculations being done, had all of the alliance parties and councillors been present within council, the quorum would have been maintained. But failure to even have a quorum means that you could not even proceed with the vote, even in the absence of the other political parties that had walked out at a particular point. What are you going to do now? Are you going to try and convene another council sitting, or are you going to also go the route that the MEC is proposing, a meeting between all the whips, yourself, and the department to try and seek a way forward here?
Well, if the MEC wants to go that route, yes, we can go that route. Normally, the whips of political parties are brought together by the chief whip elected at our first meeting, and those whips discuss some of this type of issues. But obviously, they have not yet been given a chance this time after the collapse of yesterday's meeting to have that discussion. Remember that the chair, in other words, yesterday I made certain pronouncements that the nomination process that was obviously halted because of the quorum issue will be dealt with at the next council meeting, which is the 27th. We cannot waste taxpayers' money, ratepayers' money, calling meetings whenever we want to. This one is a scheduled meeting that normally happens. It is in the calendar. It has been approved by all councillors, and I expect the whips to sit before that particular meeting to deal with whatever issues there were. But remember that it's not just an issue of whips. I think control of the political parties and what they are, in fact, told what to do within the council meeting. What the issue was with the EFF walking away, I think those are questions that must be directed to the IFP, to the IFP, so that they can respond on that particular, because they were the only ones that were not there from the coalition partners.
Is this council in peril of being unable to fulfill its functions? From you as the Speaker of the Council, are you concerned that it's in peril and in danger of not being able to fulfill its functions without these critical committees and possibly a complete collapse of Council?
No, not yet. I still believe that we will achieve what we want to. The nominated councillors are there on the list. There are 17, and it's just the confirmation at the next meeting.
All right, I've got to thank you for your time. Speaker of the Council in the city of Johannesburg, Vasco Gama, weighing in on the goings-on there, the collapsed meeting that took place yesterday. At some point, it simply did not have a quorum to actually proceed with the election of the committee chairs. This, of course, after the chair of chairs, it's an interesting title, chair of chairs, had been elected. So let's see how that evolves in the coming days.